Hello, this is Sandat here, and welcome back to the Soundcast, episode 12. Today I want to talk about nothing in particular that's recent news stuff. I've been kind of doing that a lot lately of what's the hot topic to discuss. I just kind of want to do an opinion piece, and I think that I should be allowed to. It's my podcast, I can pick the topic. Um, the Soundcast here, the reason I started all this was I wanted an opinion spot. This was so I could talk about things like Digimon, Appley Monsters, or the Q Ranger toys I'm super excited for, may or may not have ordered a couple of, and other kind of topics like that. But I don't really just come out and state my opinions on a broad subject, and that's what we're going to do today. Today I want to talk about why I love Power Rangers and Super Sentai. There's a thing with me is that lately what I've noticed is I've kind of transitioned from being a mega huge Kamen Rider fan to being a really big Sentai fan. Like surprisingly recently, even though Sentai hasn't been really that great recently, aside from some fantastic shows like Zyuohger and Tokyuger. Well, I thought Tokyuger was great, but that consensus is still out there. And Kyoryuger was pretty good too. Ninja was. I don't even want to talk about it. Anyways, the point is that I've kind of gotten away from Kamen Rider, and I'm mostly realizing that Kamen Rider kind of changes itself a little too much. I go from a series like Kamen Rider Drive, which I thought was the last good Kamen Rider show, to Ghost, which was very tonally different and very inconsistent. I think Kamen Rider lately has been inconsistent. You could have somebody die in one episode, and then 5 episodes later, you could be talking to a talking hamburger. That's how X8 is going, apparently. I don't know. I am not keeping track of these shows, but stuff is happening like across the board, and it's like they're afraid to do actual drama without instant comedy. It's probably one of my least favorite parts about Drive was that they would always have some intense scene broken up by comedy. So that's part of the issue here. Now, that kind of led me away from like recent Kamen Rider stuff. There's still older Kamen Rider stuff I love. I still love the Showa era to death. That is probably my favorite like run of Tokusatsu shows. They're so good. And I also do like a lot of the Heisei series. I think the period between Double and Wizard was pretty good. I was kind of here or there on Gaim. I enjoyed watching it when I watched it the first time, and then I watched it again, and I was like, wow, there's like 800 plot holes in this show. And then Drive I really enjoyed, but then after that it's been kind of wishy-washy. The only thing I've liked recently is Amazon's. But the thing was is that pre-decade, Heisei Rider shows were willing to take risks, and I think that nowadays they're too comfortable in the fact they're a successful show. They don't want to take any risks, and that's kind of hurting the enjoyment for me. So in this podcast about Power Rangers Sentai, I've just spent 3 minutes talking about Kamen Rider. But the point is that I've kind of wanted to fill that consistent void of Toku. It's not just Power Rangers, but like Japanese Toku. And I'm not a fan of Garo because Garo's gotten really messy. And Amazon's is only 13 episodes a year. So I was kind of looking for something, and I started getting into Sentai more. Just lately, I've just been like Zyuohger really like kind of brought back my Sentai vibe. Ninja killed it last year. It was like dead with a stake. I don't really know if I was that huge of a Sentai fan before, but Ninja cut all my hype for Sentai. And then I started watching Zyuohger, and I love Zyuohger. And that's what I realized, is that people look at Zyuohger and they're like, oh, this plot here, this character here. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever, I still enjoy the show. And I think that the reason I enjoy Super Sentai above Rider and above other Toku is that it's consistent. The Sentai formula has been working for 40 years. Lately, it has been dragging, at least in toy sales and ratings. But I've noticed that like Sentai is very consistent, and I enjoy that. The world we live in nowadays, with all the political stuff I'm not going to talk about, all the crime problems happening in my city, and other stuff like that, I need consistency. especially since I'm going into graduating college. Um, Consistency is nice. When you can't predict what the world will do next, if you can watch a TV show and know you'll enjoy it because you like the formula it's built in, it makes it really simple. It makes it easy. Now there are some terrible, terrible Sentai shows out there, and ones that I can't stand. I did not like Jew Ranger. I gave it a good 6 episode shot and was just like, I'm bored. I should not be bored during a Sentai show, but I'm bored. That being said, I'll probably go back to it someday, because I had the same feeling with Kaku Ranger where I was like, this show's kind of really bizarre and I don't know if I can handle it. But I kept watching, so I watched 6 episodes and then watched the seventh, and then the seventh episode I was like, okay, I think they finally nailed it down. So I might go back to G Ranger one day. I have it on DVD. I should probably go back and watch that. But when it comes to Sentai, for the most part, I will enjoy it. There are some seasons, like Ghost Sager, watching that on a weekly basis didn't enjoy. Maybe going back and watching it now that it's completely aired. Um, this is like, I think that what I was trying to look for in Sentai before may have been something against what Sentai is. I was kind of thinking, like my thinking originally, I think when I was starting to watch Sentai and why I probably wasn't as into it, because I think my high point was like Gokaiger. Actually, no, my high point was Shinkenger when I first started watching Sentai. And then, like, it kept up with Gokaiger, but, there's Go Sager in the middle. And then Go Busters I wasn't too tuned into. I was constantly behind. And then or not Gokaiger, Kyoryuger, I really enjoyed. But I didn't start watching Kyoryuger until it was on episode 35. So I think that probably Shinkenger was my hype point. And I was like, oh my god, this is like Power Rangers, but better. And that was the wrong mentality. But then again, Shinkenger was 8 years ago. I started my YouTube channel 8 years ago. A lot has changed. I've grown as a person. I've changed my thinking and my mental capabilities. I've gone from teenager in high school to graduating college. So my mental state of being is different. And I think that I can appreciate Sentai more because I'm not looking for it to be better than Power Rangers or the same as Power Rangers. It's a different take on the style of show. The formula of Super Sentai and the formula of Power Rangers are one and the same because Power Rangers uses the Sentai show for a basis and it's an adaptation. And I think that formula works, but it's tweaked in different ways, which makes it interesting. For example, you have a show like Gao Ranger where the villains reemerge from thousands of years laying dormant, and they're all monsters and horrible, horrible monsters. Or you have a show like Live Man, where the villains are 3 friends of the main Sentai that went evil and got tricked into thinking that they could become super powerful using their intellects, and then ended up destroying an island full of people. That's the same formula. Villains appear, Sentai appears to stop villains, but one is ancient evil mutant orgs, and then the other is regular people that got turned into monsters, that turned themselves into monsters. That's the kind of thing about Sentai that I think I've enjoyed watching multiple series, and I've watched, I think, more Sentai in the last year than I have in the years prior. And it's that nice formula to it. It keeps things consistent, and for the most part, Sentai is more lighthearted. There are some darker Sentai, but they try not to it's not too unbalanced. You don't have the show trying to be dark and more mature, which is what Writer tries to do, and then it being held back by being a kids show. That's where I think Writer is struggling, is that we want to go and make a more interesting narrative, but we have toys to sell. And so it keeps backtracking. It's kind of like a back and forth. And that's the kind of thing that I think Sentai doesn't do. It's got its formula nailed down. It's like, all right, we're going to sell the toys. We're going to be good for kids to watch, but we also want to have an interesting narrative. So you have your filler episodes here and there, but you have like those really plot-heavy episodes. Or like in Die Ranger, where the last like 15 episodes was just one arc, basically. So it's a lot of stuff like that keeps me watching Sentai. And it's what keeps me going. The thing that drives me away from a show is when it decides that it wants to be something and then doesn't commit to it. That's when I start disliking shows, because it's like you want to do this, but you're doing this instead because of other reasons, and that's where it gets frustrating. That's what was nice about Amazon's. Amazon's is like, we're gonna make a dark, plot-centered writer series, and it went for it. Didn't have any toys to sell. They made toys after, because I got 2 figure arts on my desk and a belt sitting on next to my bed, but that wasn't the drive of the show. So I think it really helped it. In terms of why I like Power Rangers, it's, like I said, the same reasons with Sentai. It's the nice formula, the consistency of it. And there's only like, I gotta say, there's only like a couple Power Rangers seasons I really hate. I really do enjoy like 90% of Power Rangers. I think Mighty Morphin Season 1 and Operation Overdrive are like my low points on that list. But I overall just, I enjoy Power Rangers. Like even seasons like Super Mega Force, it wasn't that great. I still enjoyed watching it. I got behind on episodes a few times, but like I caught up. I still enjoyed it. Dino Charge, even through Dino Supercharge's weird finale, I still enjoyed it because it was still lighthearted. It was consistent. It was happy. It was hopeful. It was heroic. It was a weird plot, but it was still Power Rangers to the core. And I think that's what's really important, is that those core values of working together to accomplish something, having hope for a better future, and fighting against evil is a good message. It's definitely something that more people should learn nowadays. There's a lot of evil in the world, and not many people seem to be fighting back in the right ways. There's different ways of doing things, but I think that Power Rangers sends that message that there is a better future out there, and sometimes you have to fight for it. And I think that kind of still resonates to me now as it did 20 years ago. And overall, I'm just going to keep watching Power Rangers. It's one of those things I just really enjoy. I mean, just as a show, I love Megazords too. Okay, I like Megazords. Like Megazords is like a burning passion of mine to collect Megazords because I like Transformers. So I like robots, but Transformers are always too articulated, and so over time, Transformer joints get loose and things fall apart. Most of my Megazords, even if they have loose joints, they still have those solid connection pegs, and they don't have as much articulation, so they are solid robots that aren't going to fall apart 20 years later. It's so nice. And yeah, they're really expensive to collect because they're big, and importing them from Japan is tricky too, but I just enjoy it. I think it boils down to, why do I like Super Sentai and Power Rangers? It's because I enjoy both shows. For different reasons, but I enjoy them both, and I enjoy their mecha, their changers, sometimes weapons. A lot of the time I wish there were more action figures of Sentai teams that aren't being Power Rangers. But yeah, that's basically where I'm at. Where I'm at in my life, Sentai and Rider are kind of the two, or Sentai and Power Rangers, not Rider, are the two shows that I can just watch when I'm not feeling good, or if I'm feeling down, or if the world's getting too much. I can just be like, alright, let me just stick in an episode of Kaku Ranger, or let me just rewatch some Gao Ranger, put in some Lost Galaxy, maybe some Ninja Storm, and I just feel better. I always feel better after watching Power Rangers and Sentai. So, none of that's going to change. Anything else I watch, the Gundam series, if I just drop that and never look at it again, probably going to happen. Kamen Rider even, I could probably drop that behind. But Sentai and Power Rangers, they will stick with me for a while. I definitely feel that in my heart. If I had to stop collecting toys and I could only stick to one line, it would be just Megazords and Sentai Mecha. I would drop everything else, I think. From everything that I've felt over the years and everything that I've put money towards, Japanese figures are cool, DC classics are cool, Marvel Legends are cool, Gunflower are cool, Yu-Gi-Oh cards are cool, but if I had to stop that all, I'm going to stick to the Sentai Mecha. That is my priority in purchasing, is Sentai Mecha, Power Rangers Zords. That is what my priority is in life. And it's important to have priorities. I think that's helped guide me now. So this was kind of a lot more deep of a podcast than I thought, but that is it for this week on the Soundcast. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on things. Share them with me if you'd like, why you like Power Rangers and Sentai, what it means to you, or any other shows that are really important to you. And also stay tuned next week, as it is the 8th anniversary of Sound Out Productions, landing next Wednesday. So all week I have special lineup of videos for everyone. And it's not going to be any toy reviews, but it will be a special set of videos that I want to produce that kind of reflects back on 8 years of YouTube, as well as just kind of shares more of the process of what I do here. And yeah, be sure to subscribe. Next week's Soundcast will be a look back at 8 years on Sound Out Productions, so it should be pretty interesting. And stay tuned for more Power Rangers Super Sentai reviews. I've got a bunch of non-Power Ranger and Sentai reviews in the pipeline, including the Kamen Amazon's Figuarts, as well as the Voltron Legendary Defender, and plenty others. Plus, Uchu Sentai Kyuranger is coming up soon, and I've got Kurano and the Seiza Blaster coming in the mail as soon as they ship out of Japan. So, looking forward to that, and till next time, it's the Sound Out saying goodbye.